What is up? Welcome back to Jadonna Live. Today is such an exciting day. It is game 7 of the NBA Finals, and the Pacers are in it. Have no idea what the results of this game will be, but we're really excited for that here in Indiana. So if you are a Pacers fan, if you are a bandwagon fan, all types of fans are welcome here. And yeah, we just wish them the best. My husband and I would have gone to Gainbridge for the game tonight with a lot of other fans. So hopefully I have a great report out next week. Even if the Pacers don't pull out a dub, it'll still be a fun experience. So that's what I keep telling myself. But outside of that, welcome summer. It is finally here. The 20th was the first day of summer. Hope you got to spend some time with your friends. We went to a dinner at my friend's house, and let me just tell you, the weather and the calendar are in sync because right when summer hit, we, at least in Indiana, already got like 90 degrees. Today, the record high is not record high, but today's high is 94 degrees. And we will be ootin' a boot downtown. So it's going to be hot. It's going to be fun. It's going to be sweaty. It's going to be nice. Yeah. So yeah, thank you all so much for listening. Totally forgot to do my little intro. That is hilarious. Welcome to Jadonna Live. As you guys can hear, I am very excited. Very excited about the day. Jadonna Live is a space that's honest, passionate, and not threatening, where people can come, process out loud, ask better questions, and grow on purpose without pretending they've got it all together. My mantra and the podcast mantra is to come as you are. You are welcome, but also to live like you're trying. Yes, we want to show up. We want to be our authentic selves, but my goal in this life is to also aim for, how can I improve X or Y or Z? But I believe that before you can even meet any of those other goals, you have to love yourself where you are right now. So that is really what that means. So super excited for also my YouTube channel. I have been putting all of the podcasts I can on YouTube as well. I don't think I've ever actually formally said that. So for those of you who are maybe not only interested in listening with your ears, you can listen with your ears and your eyes on YouTube. For those looking at me, hey, what up, dude? So definitely check that out if you can as well. Also, I am so grateful. I ran into someone on Friday who told me she listened to the pod, a friend of a friend, and that she even left a review. And I'm so appreciative of that because reviews are really the only way you could prove to potential funders and also just people excited about your podcast that people actually listen. So if you have not left a review, can you please leave one? That would be so wonderful. And if you want to leave one and have a little incentive as well with it, feel free to screenshot your review and to send me an email at jadonnalive@gmail.com. And, you might get a little something for it. So thanks again for joining. We are going to move on over to the affirmations segment. So come on over and join me. All right. Now it is time for the affirmation segment. For those new to the podcast, I conduct an affirmation segment every episode where I invite people to repeat life-giving phrases out loud, ingraining them into your subconscious mind. So the goal is to be intentional about who you want to be and where you're going. And I started an affirmations practice 2022 when I had my kid, because I did Hypno Babies, an episode for another time. And it was so powerful and kind of taught me a lot about intentional meditation and where it can lead. So had to incorporate that into the podcast. And you're welcome to listen to each affirmation first and then repeat it out loud with me the second time. My purpose for this segment today, that's all about not just community, but self-confidence, is to remind you of who you are. My gosh, not very peaceful with so much going on in the background, so apologies for that, but it is just kind of what it is today. So we are going to bring in peace amidst everything else. So just go ahead and plant your feet on the ground. For me, as you do so, begin to lower your shoulders. Take a deep breath through your nose. Release through your mouth. And repeat after me. I am a valuable member of my community. I am a valuable member of my community. I have things to offer. I have things to offer. My presence by itself is enough. My presence by itself is enough. I am enough. I am enough. I give grace to the people in my community. I give grace to the people in my community. I give grace to myself. I give grace to myself. May community find me if it hasn't already. May community find me. I welcome strong, fun, fulfilling community. I welcome strong, fun, fulfilling community. I know my worth, and my presence is enough. I know my worth, and my presence is enough. Yay. Thanks, y'all. I feel good about that. I used to just come up with affirmations kind of like in the moment and feel it out, but I started to write them out, and I feel like I overthink them when I write them out. And so I'm trying to get back to coming up with them right in the moment. We'll see how it goes. First time doing that in a while. So yeah, let's move on. All right. Well, welcome back to the Many Moments segment. In this segment, I introduce topics that have been on my mind lately, share related thoughts, and invite you all to relate your thoughts to me via email. So please write in your thoughts at jadonnalive@gmail.com, and I would love to read them. Today's Many Moments segment is about community and closes out our theme of community with none other than my wonderful mother, Donnice. Donnice is co-founder and actor of Soulful Journeys of Women, where she performs artistic interpretations of notable women with strong social, political, and spiritual influences throughout American history. Soulful Journeys of Women aims to educate, inspire, and entertain, and teaches lessons of courage, perseverance, and determination. Her most recent performance was at the Carmel Public Library with about 54 attendees, and it was a wonderful show. In addition to performing, she enjoys gardening, spending time with her family, cooking, and helping people in need. So welcome, Mommy, to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you today.
Oh, thank you, Jadonna. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate being here.
Awesome. Is there anything else you would like to add to your intro, to help the people get to know you a little more? No pressure.
Yeah, just keep a watch for Soulful Journeys of Women.
Okay. Peep that, soulfuljourneysofwomen.com. And I will have links to all the Soulful Journeys stuff in the show notes if you all are wanting to check out their website or their Instagram to kind of know what's going up there. So the reason I have my mom on today to close out the community series I kind of started impromptu is because in previous weeks we've discussed friendship, acquaintanceship, community more broadly. And today my mom is here because out of anyone I've known, I still really do believe that you are the best community member contributor I've really ever witnessed. So I wanted her to come on to chat about what community means to her, her experience as a member of various communities, and what really inspires her to show up the way that she does. So you ready to get in this?
All right, let's do it. Well, Jadonna, first of all, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate being here on Jadonna Live. everybody. So, but first of all, it made me think about community, and I never really thought about it, to be honest. I just do what I do. But anyway, to me, I guess if I was to define community, it would be people coexisting in an environment to enhance the well-being of that group.
Mm.
That's what it would be to me. And yeah, and you don't have to know everybody in your community or even like them for that matter, but you show up for them when they need you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that. I
Okay.
love that. And I feel like that aligns with what I've seen of you. And I wanted to take it back to you growing up and kind of how you saw community in action. And yeah, what examples of community you really observed as a kid.
Well, growing up, I used to see my mother and father, they would give their last. I mean, literally, I saw my mom, she would give her last out of her pocket to help family, friends, even strangers. I mean, they'll see people on the street, the homeless. They will be quick to give. They wouldn't even think, okay, is this a racket? Is this for real or not, or whatever? They would just give and, and ask us if we had something to add to it, to give to it. So I always saw my parents giving of what they had and not for anything in return. It wasn't like they were keeping notes. Okay, I did this for you. Now you got to do this for me. They just did it out of their hearts. And I learned from that. And I learned that the more they gave, it seemed like they always had. It seemed like we always had abundance. We always had food to eat. We always had things that we wanted and needed because they were willing to give of themselves. And that's what I learned, and that's what I did. I didn't even really realize that I was doing that because it was automatic. You see something, and these come in different forms, shapes, and sizes. Sometimes it's just giving a smile to somebody, a hug. It's not always things or money or food or whatever. So.
And would you say that how you observed them, can you kind of see how that directly impacted how you give today and how you show up in communities today? Or
most definitely it does. Like I said, I do things because I saw how they did things, and to me it comes natural. And I'm not boasting or anything like that. I'm just saying that you treat people the way you want to be treated. And if you see somebody that's hurting or in need or whatever the case may be, you just do what you need to do.
And so how would you describe doing what you need to do? Like, what is your approach for showing up for people in your various communities? How do you do that?
First of all, I look around, I pay attention, I ask questions, I try to find out what is it that people need. Sometimes it's justice. Sometimes they just need somebody to sign in with them or to go towards someone that can make a difference in their life. Sometimes we all go through things. I've gone through things. We've all been at periods in our lives where we need someone to assist, to help in some kind of way, shape, or form. And so the main thing is to be very attentive, listen, and not assume. Because things can look really nice on the outside. That doesn't mean it's all together on the inside. From what I've seen, sometimes we can misjudge people and think that, oh, they got it going on. They don't need anything. And that may be the very person that may need something. They may not need exactly the way you think they need, but they may be lonely and need someone to come and spend time with them. So the main thing I would say is to be attentive. And know, kind of keep an eye and see what can I do to make their life better.
So when you do that, do you typically observe and then act? Or do you observe and then ask them from your observation, hey, like I notice you might need blah, blah, blah. Do you? Or do you just kind of notice and do what you assume someone needs? What route do you usually take?
I do a combination of both. Sometimes you don't have to ask people. You see it. It's obvious. It's all in your face. You just do what you do, and not as a charity case, not as I'm better than you, I'm going to do this. No, you I always try to put myself in that person's place to say, how would I want somebody to react to me or to say something or do something? Because that's why I have to watch. Because you don't want to pre-assume that they need this. They may not need this because I know many people who live a very, very modest life and very well off. And you might think, oh, they need such and such and such because they're wearing the same, clothes regularly or whatever the case may be. But this is deeper than what I'm talking about is deeper than that. What I'm saying is that if I saw that someone was in need of something, transportation, a ride, a car, or something like that, I will offer them a ride if I can help it, if I am able to do it, or if I see that, go in their house and they open up their refrigerator and there's nothing in there, I don't have to say, do you need food? I mean, you just do what you do. You bless them, you give them something to help in that regards. So sometimes you do have to ask because you want to make sure you're giving to the right thing. And sometimes you don't have to ask. You just observe and listen and pay attention. And generally within the first 5 minutes of a conversation with someone, you kind of know if they trying to get over on you and having a line and wanting you to feel a certain way for them so that you can give out of your pocket. And then if it's genuine, if it's sincere, that they're not feeling like they're entitled or they want something from you. It's just the situation in which they're in. And I learned never, ever to think that I'm better than anybody. Because we all are a few paychecks from being homeless. You know what I'm saying? Unless we got our stuff together. But I'm just saying, so you never make yourself bigger than anybody. You just be available, whatever that is. And sometimes you have to ask hard questions. And sometimes you don't. You just observe and do what you feel needs to be done.
And we're specifically talking about this in the context of community. So these are people you already see and, likely you see somewhat often. These are people you kind of already know. And so these aren't going to be people you have no context for whatsoever. So hopefully there is a base level of rapport where, you at least know the person well enough to know you can trust them or they know they can trust you, and you can kind of build upon that. So I kind of wanted to add that. But why do you feel like you are so observant and aware of how to support people and their needs? Like, what's the driving force for why you show up for people so well?
I guess the main thing is that I know what God has done for me in my life. I love him, I serve him, and with my heart, soul, mind, and strength. And so as a result of that, I've learned how he's taken care of me. And so I reciprocate and give back to others. And, I love my neighbor as I love myself. And oftentimes your neighbor, yes, it could be the person next door to you. It could be the person down the street. It could be the person in another city who you come in contact with. And so I feel everybody is my neighbor. And I don't know everybody. And oftentimes I show up for people I don't know who don't know me. It's nothing, how do I say it? For me to drive and I see somebody and, they got bags on the back or they on the street or they're saying, hey, I need food. I would give them food. I would take them to give them food. I would do things for them. I've done that numerous times and whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to be people I know, but yes, even people in my neighborhood. If I find out somebody, a mother, father passed or a child passed, I would love, I help. Whether it's collecting money for them from the neighborhood or giving them a meal, visiting them, giving them a card, just letting them know, hey, I'm thinking about you, things of that sort. So it doesn't have to be people that I know. I just want to show forth the love of Christ, sincerely, because I know that we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we know who holds, at least I know who holds tomorrow. So I have a peace in that God is going to take care of me regardless what happens in the world. I'm in this world, but not of this world. So I know if he's going to take care of the lily of the valley, the birds in the air, he's going to take care of me. And because I have that assurance, I have that peace, and he's blessed. So I'm quick to give, because it's not mine. It's like, give, give, give. And the more I give, guess what? It multiplies and comes back to me. And so I don't hoard. I don't try to sit on things and can on them, what people say, sit on the can and all that mess.
No, I think that's when you pee.
What you say? You pee. What you say?
Is it sitting on the can when you pee or poop?
No, it's nothing.
Well, no, I did want to reiterate what you're saying though, because I've seen that demonstrated where you will have, you'll be making meals for something and you'll give it away to the point where when we were kids, me and my sibling and my dad, we would all be like, wait, there's no food left. Like, why did you literally give away like, to the point where we were like, what about us? Like, why do you give away so much? What are we going to eat? You'd be like, oh, there's something. You could eat something. We're like, no, we want what you just made that you decided to give away to people. That's what we want. Why are you not making more for us? What are you doing?
Let let me clarify really quick. I always make sure my family is taken care of. Number one. However, I would make food and I would make a big amount of it and with the intent to bless another family. And I always make sure my family have food to eat. However, my children, and sometimes my husband too, they'd be like, you're giving everything away? No, I'm not giving everything away. I'm just giving them this bunk of it, this much, and I still get something for you all to eat. You never went hungry, all right? And so I knew that we can always get something, and we always had it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give them the bulk of it and make sure you all had what y'all had. Y'all didn't go hungry, all right?
Leftovers.
I never had hungry. But it was just that oftentimes you'd be like, why can't you give that to us? And like I said, I would fix it. For example, a big thing of spaghetti. And I would give you all spaghetti for that day, but you all wanted spaghetti for the next day and the next day. And I gave y'all enough for that day, knowing that you all would have something else for tomorrow, Lord's willing, So.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
So, no, that's true. And I kind of want to switch gears a bit because I think something I have seen you do is show up for people, like you mentioned, when people have parents that pass or people have, maybe kids that pass. These very sensitive, vulnerable moments where it would be honestly less awkward to not reach out immediately. If someone has a death or someone has a tragedy, because they're grieving, that what they've gone through is traumatic. But I think what I've seen you do and what I've seen you do over and over and over and over is immediately when you hear about scenarios like that, you act. And so I would love if you could talk a bit about how you are not embarrassed to act in those moments when people are at their lowest, and kind of what propels you to kind of get over what people would think and just to show up as, a member of your community.
Jadonna, that's a difficult situation within itself. Have to be very, very sensitive to the person who you're about to approach or who has the death in the family. You have to have an ideal of how the person handles different things in general and know the demeanor of the person. Oftentimes in society, we assume that when people are going through difficulties, we automatically assume that everybody wants to be alone to process. And some people do. They need that time to be alone, to process. In my experience, I realized over years of seeing many people die, whether it's family members, whether it's friends, coworkers, what have you. Oftentimes, I've heard people say, no one was there for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was hurting. No one picked up the phone to call me, to see how I was doing. No one visited me. No one. And it's so easy for us to say, okay, we'll give people maybe a day or two to grieve or whatever, and then we'll show back up for them. But oftentimes people forget. They get so busy in their own routine day-to-day thing that out of sight, out of mind, that person, unless it's a close family member. But even then, sometimes people don't even communicate. So what I do, I pray. I ask God, I said, Lord, I know this person is grieving. I know this person is hurting. I mean, I've seen several people, I watched them die, take their last breath, holding their hands. So I know how sensitive that time is when a person, their loved one is gone. So my thing is, I try to think about the person, is this person a private person? Is this person a person who always, want to be around people to get comfort or whatever. So I take that in consideration, but I pray and I said, Lord, what do you want me to do? And oftentimes I feel that I'm not to say anything, but to make myself available, not to be nosy, not to pry, not to say, oh, what happened? And trying to get all the ins and outs of what the thing is. Sometimes it's just picking up the phone or unexpectedly knocking on their door or saying, I'm here for you. And sometimes it's just do nothing but hug the person. Just let them cry. Just let them mourn. Because what I found is that people get comfort about talking about the situation, even if it was a misjustice, even if it was a hit and run, even if it was a drive-by shooting. Sometimes people just need to talk. They don't want you to say anything. They just want to talk. And if they can talk to another human being about it, that gives them some type of comfort or power. But to have nobody to say nothing, can't say anything, that makes the hurt even deeper. Oftentimes and I've done it, and it's kind of scary, but I'm willing to take, how do I say, if someone say, Donnice, this is the wrong time. I have never had anyone tell me that. Never had anyone say, Donnice, I wish you didn't show up. Oftentimes they say, Donnice, I'm so glad you came. Oh, you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes the most that I do is just pray. I listen, I let them cry, I cry with them, I hug them, I hold them. We end up laughing, talking about different things about that individual that deceased now or whatever. And then afterwards they feel like a sense of
Relief.
I can go to bed now. I can sleep now. It doesn't stop the grieving, but it's like, I'm not by myself. Wow. So I would just encourage people to check your motives. If your motive is to be nosy, is to get information, don't approach, don't call, because that other person would know that and sense that. You have to really make sure your motives is right, that you want to give comfort. That's all. If they don't say anything at all, but just look in space, but you're there, and that's giving them comfort, that's good enough. You don't have to say anything. And in those specific situations, less is best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, say little.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I would see you doing that growing up, like sometimes I'd be like, I would cringe because I'm like, oh my gosh, mommy, why are you doing, I would just be like, how do you not feel awkward? But I have adopted some of that stuff. I had a friend going through some, mental health issues and stopped by around that time and was literally just there. And they brought up to me later how useful and helpful that was. Had another friend going through a tragedy, stopped by. So I completely agree with what you said. I never want to let my feelings get in the way of showing up for someone, because I know if it were me, I would want someone to show up. But more than that, I feel like just being empathetic and knowing whatever happened to that person, it's like that could happen to anybody. And I think I've seen you be a part of communities like, oh, you'll literally hear from a cousin, that person died. You'll call them at 12 a.m. You'll call them right when you learn. And I've heard you said, well, if they don't want to pick up, they won't pick up, but that's not going to stop me from calling. And I like that too. And same with you showing up at their door, that same sentiment. If they don't want to answer, they won't, but you don't let the fear of how they will respond stop you from serving them.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you don't know how you're going to feel. Like I said, some people hear this and they may say, you better not come to my door, and that's cool. That's cool. That's why I said you have to know who you're dealing with and how they're dealing. But when grief comes, you act different. People act different than what they normally would do. And everybody wants to feel loved. If that's not the time when people need it more than anything, when things are disappearing, when you lose your job, you lose your baby, you get a divorce, these are hard things. And people just kind of dismiss it, like, get over it. But people, it hurts. And until you're able to really feel what that other people feel, you'll just kind of kind of dismiss it. And I think that's the problem in society. We lost our love for others. We're so about ourselves, so narcissistic. We're so about ourselves. Me, 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 me. We don't take time for people. And that's the thing about community. I have many different communities, whether it's my neighborhood, the workforce, school, church, grocery store, various
You do
clubs,
know
whatever
everybody
it
at Costco.
is.
You know everybody at
There are
Costco.
people in there that are hurting, that have not voiced it. They have not shared it. You can see it on their content. You can see it in their face. You can hear it in their words. All I'm saying, be sensitive, because we all need people. We all need people. I need you. You need me. We all need each other. And we don't know when we're going to be at our lowest point where we need someone in community to come help us. And so it's about being available. I'm a firm believer. You reap what you sow. We have to make time for people. We have to make time for people. We have to be sensitive to people. No matter what area, what community you are in or involved with or part of, we need each other. And so just be sensitive, to be available, to look beyond your own self and to see that, what can I do to help this person, or to assist or encourage or inspire? It's not always giving a helping hand. Sometimes it's giving a smile or just encouraging somebody to say, you can do this.
And so,
Okay.
no, I was just going to say that leads right into my next question, and maybe even already answered it. The advice you would give to others who maybe feel really awkward showing up because they are super self-conscious about doing the wrong thing, or if the person won't like what they do, or maybe they're not as naturally observant as you, so they want to help out, but they can't tell what the other person needs. Do you have any advice for someone like that who still wants to show up in their community but doesn't come as naturally?
Yes, I would think about this acronym, CALM, CALM, and think about C as just caring. Because if you don't care, you're not going to be motivated to do anything. If you don't see it necessary to extend a hand or to help, you're not going to do anything. So first of all, you have to care. And generally when you care, you're showing compassion. That means that's still that C. You're showing compassion. You're willing to give up yourself to do something that you're able to do. And the other one is A, being attentive, really paying attention to making sure that what you see is really what's going on. Because like I said, we can make false assumptions. So let's make sure we are attentive so that what we see is actually what's going on. And then, listen. We have to listen. People are crying out. People are screaming to the mountaintop, and we don't hear. We are so dull, and we see them every day. We work with them. We go to church with them. We live in the same household with them. We're neighbors to them. And they're like, help me, help me. And we're dull of hearing. We need to listen to see how we can better aid or help or assist or encourage or strengthen them. And then finally, your motives. Have meaningful relationship. It's not about what you can get out of this. Meaningful relationship. How can you be of assistance? Is your motives pure? Are you doing it so you can say, I checked that off? Or are you doing it because that person was hurt and that hurt in return hurt you? And you have something that can make a difference. I tell you, I have to go back to the Bible because that's what I am. That's what I'm about. But I remember in Matthew 25, verses 35 through 40, Jesus was telling his disciples, he was saying, when I was naked, you clothed me. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. And they were like, when did we do this? And he was letting them know, when you do it to the least. And sometimes the least, in our opinion, can be people, whether they're, strung out on drugs or homeless or whatever. We think that's the least, but that's not the least. We all are the least. We all got issues. We all got things we're dealing with. And so Jesus is saying, hey, when you do it to any one of these, you're doing it unto me. It doesn't matter who it is. And sometimes we miss that. We miss that. And so all I'm saying is that let's learn how to show love toward each other. And especially when it's in your power to do something, to do it, not to make excuses or not to make people jump hurdles to get something from you. Here you have something that they need that you can easily give, and you making them go through all these channels just to get to it. Who are you where you got to make people hustle and do all this stuff? Just give it to them. Be done with it. Some people want to stroke themselves. They have them, They couldn't do it without me. No, it's not about that. It's not about that at all. So I think when people look at themselves like, hey, you're me, I'm you.
Yeah.
We in this together. This is what community is about. When I need something, you help me. When you need something, I help you. It's a win-win. It's not, oh, you only did such and such. I did all of this. No, It's not about that. We don't keep records.
And those are the people who end up lonely too. Because those are the people don't end up wanting to show up for. You're like, I don't really like them.
Exactly.
Which is terrible, but it's true. People like that don't end up having true relationships where people even want to show up for them.
Exactly.
But no, that was such great information, such great context. We got to wrap it up here, but thank you so much for being on, for talking about how you show up for people. I think it'll be really helpful for people to hear those specific examples and to be able to show up for people, especially in today's age. Like you said, when so many people are focusing on themselves, I really do think real societal change will happen in America specifically when people learn that the person next door is just like them and that we all need each other to succeed. I think until people get that into get that into their heads, and I hope it doesn't take tragedy for people to learn, but that, we are all the least of these. Well, thank you. And anything else to add?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Jadonna, for having me. I love you. I feel like I only just tip of the iceberg, but I pray
We only got a certain amount of time.
But I pray that whoever is hearing them, that they will be encouraged, whoever is. And I love you, and I love your listeners. God bless you.
She loves you guys. Well, love you too. All right. Well, let's all move on. Well, that is a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of community and friendship. There's way more where that came from. When I do my official relaunch in August, which one of my friends said the other day, you've already done that. I'm like, no, visually, I've been putting out more like visually branded things, but the relaunch has to do with the format of the podcast, not just the visual branding and assets. So in the fall, when I come up with the new format of the show, I will be doing more episodes on like self-love, community, and the environment. We'll likely do one episode per topic per month, and then have like a fourth episode that's just kind of whatever I want to talk about. So I'll kind of speak to that more later. But thanks again for enjoying just this community series that happened by happenstance. Loved having my mom on. She was really nervous. I'm glad that got to happen. Email jadonnalive@gmail.com with any questions or comments about the series in general or this episode. I really look forward to engaging with you. And in the meantime, I will chat with you all next week. Take it easy, breathe deeply, and keep doing what you do. I will catch you next week. Same place, same vibe. Bye.